AITA for refusing to pay for my sister's husband's surgery with my inheritance. College money. Context: my sister and I lost our dad a year ago. He was my only parent. Mom was never in mine or my sister's life. Dad left money for me and sister, and she used her inheritance to get new cars and renovate her house. I live with my aunt right now cause my brother-in-law didn't let me stay with my sister. I'm planning on using my inheritance money to pay for college tuition. My sister and I haven't been close. It started after she got married to her chronically ill husband, who was allowed to make backhanded comments about Dad and mock his illness, and make a scene at his funeral, only because he's ill and shouldn't be held accountable for his behavior. I've distanced myself, but my sister kept visiting a lot lately, venting about my brother-in-law's condition. He's been in and out the hospital for heart problems and in need for a surgery. She brought up my inheritance money several times, but I end up cutting the conversation. She then straight up asked if I could help pay for her husband's surgery and she'd pay back in less than a year. I felt uneasy cause if I give her money from my inheritance, which is a large amount, then there's no guarantee she'll pay back before it's time to apply for college. I'm taking a year gap, but I know my sister can't pay back that much, and I felt I was risking my future. I refused to help, and she had a meltdown at my aunt's house, calling me heartless, cruel, with no empathy. She said that her husband's health should be a priority and I needed to help because education is nothing compared to someone's health, and asked if I'd be happy to see her as a widow, and my nephew with no father. My aunt suggested others pay, but most of them cut my sister and her husband off. I argued that her husband's poor health isn't my fault after she kept blaming and guilt-tripping me. She kept crying, and although my aunt decided to stay out of it, she said that I should be prepared for permanent damage in my relationship with my sister if I don't help her now. She's been sending texts and pictures of her family telling me this is what I was saying no to: a happy, healthy family with a healthy husband and father. I cried and felt like I was being selfish, not good aunt and sister. I asked my friend, and he said let them sell the cars and all the luxurious stuff they bought to afford the surgery, and warned me if I give them money I'll never get it back and may not be able to go to medical school. Story 2. AITA for making a scene of my adult son and sticking my nose in his marriage. I'm 60 and bad with the whole text thing on mobile, so I'm hoping I won't be judged on my grammar. Here's the important background. My daughter-in-law and son have 3 children aged 3 years, 2 years, and 4 months. He convinced her to be a stay-at-home mom and sell her business by telling her how good of a childhood he had and how happy my marriage was, without telling her that our arrangement was everything before 9 a.m. and after 5 p.m. was split 50/50. Sunday was my day off and I was brought out twice a week. Onto the story. On my last visit I noticed my daughter-in-law was struggling mentally, so my sister and her girlfriend pulled our money together and paid for a spa weekend for them while we'd babysit the kids for her birthday last weekend. I was preparing on Thursday evening for the kids to arrive when my dill rang me holding back tears, saying they won't be going because my son's friend came to town, and he said he wanted to spend the weekend with his friends catching up. I pressed her a little and I'm talking a little about her situation. She came clean about him doing no chores, no date nights, and her basically doing all of the childcare because that's what stay-at-home moms do. I was honestly disgusted. I convinced her to drop me off the kids and bring a friend to the spa. I even dipped into my savings to give her 500 euros to buy herself something nice. When she dropped me off the kids, I begged her to tell me where son was. After 5 minutes she told me the bar. She left for the spa while I left for the bar. Here's where I might be the asshole. I went to the bar where he and his friends were. I sat down next to the group and asked my son, did I fail you as a mother or was it your father, because we both thought your partner comes before your silly drunk friends. The post is getting long enough, but long story short, I humiliated him and got myself banned from a bar. My dill said she will taking the kids to her parents when she gets back tomorrow, and my son is calling me an asshole for humiliating him, sticking my nose in his marriage. Maybe I should have stayed out, I don't know. Edit. I just wanted to say I'm heartbroken, not by any judgment towards me or my parenting skills, but the fact a lot of people are shocked I care about my daughter-in-law's mental health and stood up for her against my son's bad behavior. I just want to say, as a mother, my advice is treat your daughter, son, non-binary in-laws how you'd want your children to treat it. Respect goes a long way. Story 3. AITA for canceling Mother's Day celebration that I arranged for my wife after hearing what she told my son. I have a 13Y. Oh son. I was a widower when I met my now wife. She has a 16Y. Oh daughter from another relationship. The family is often on pretty good terms. My son is the quiet one in the house. He keeps to himself a lot, but not to the point of being concerning. My wife and stepdaughter are the complete opposite. They both encourage him to be outgoing and share activities and join gatherings with extended family. My son complained about having to be forced out of his comfort zone and having his need for space invalidated. I spoke to both my wife and stepdaughter and asked them to give him space and freedom to spend his time however he wanted. They apologized and promised to let him be. As Mother's Day was approaching, I wanted to throw my wife a surprise Mother's Day celebration. It was no longer a surprise because my stepdaughter gave her the heads so she could prepare. Yesterday I got off work earlier than usual to get final arrangements done. I had the key, and while I was entering the house through the front door I overheard my wife and stepdaughter talking to my son. My wife was asking my son if he could convince me to let him stay home and not go with them to the restaurant to celebrate. I paused and decided to keep listening. My son said why, and she told him that his introverted and socially inept attitude will make her family uncomfortable and will ruin the mood. He promised her that he'd be well behaved and would try to interact and socialize with everyone, but she said that she wasn't buying it. He kept reassuring her, but she snapped and told him that technically she's not his mom, so she didn't get why he wanted to celebrate Mother's Day with her so badly. My stepdaughter threw some backhanded comment, and then both of them were shocked to see me standing there. Both were staring without saying anything. I told my son and his stepsister to go to their rooms, then told my wife that the celebration was cancelled. She tried to argue, asking why repeatedly, and I told her why. She tried to explain that she didn't mean it like that and that I only heard part of the conversation, but not all of it. I told her I was done arguing and the decision was already made. She yelled, asking what she was going to tell her family, and said that I was making tremendous mistake towards her. I ignored her while she kept throwing tantrum after a tantrum. Early this morning she took my stepdaughter and went to stay with her folks. Not a single call or text from her so far. Situation is full of tension. I'm upset still, but more hurt, to be honest. I mean, yes, I did say I was going to have with this celebration, but I thought that what she said to my son was too harsh to ignore. Story 4. AITA for kicking my sil out after she threw away most of my single-use baby products, and even formula. I'm 19F, I have a 3-week-old baby girl. I do still live with my parents, but since I pay rent equally, they say I can have just as much of a say in who comes and goes from the house as they do. I've never actually taken advantage of this rule until recently enough. I have a brother, who's 26, and his wife is 24. They're crunchy parents to a 8-month-old. Basically what that is fucking stupid. They use reusable wipes. Nappies, think formula is the epitome of evil. Baby wearing. The list just goes on. I'm the complete opposite. Pacifiers, supplementing with formula due to low supply. Disposable wipes and nappies. They are completely against the products I use and often give me things like Sil's breast milk in bags. Disposable nappies their low has grown out of, etc. I've used some, but it's not really my cup of tea. On Monday night, my father and Sil were minding my baby for me since it was my birthday, and my baby's father took me to get some dinner in one of my favorite fast food places. It was great and really relaxing. When I got home that evening, my Sil said that she did some cleaning and threw out anything I don't need. This immediately gave me red flags, but they were in a hurry to get out the door and left almost immediately. When I went into the nursery, every disposable nappy and wipe pack was gone and replaced with some reusable cloth ones. Same with my formula, there was 8 tubs and all of it was gone. I'm not able to replace them at the moment, and solely breastfeeding isn't sustainable for us. I was extremely angry and I just turned my phone off to avoid being mean to my Sil. She and my brother came over yesterday to collect something they forgot, and that was when I confronted her. I told her she has to replace everything she dumped. When she said she can't afford to, I said fine. Just get out and don't come back until I've been reimbursed or everything is replaced with the original items. My brother thinks I'm being a massive asshole and he's on his wife's side. Our parents think I'm being completely reasonable here, but they think telling her essentially not to come back is taking it too far. AITA.